Hey everybody, Tim here with today's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 1, Episode 4, The Last Outpost. Now, depending on who you are, this might be considered the first, good episode, but it's still pretty rough compared to, what we still have yet to come. But looking at the first 3 episodes, it's definitely kind of getting better. This is the first episode that actually we see the Frangi. Now, we heard them mentioned in the first episode, Encounter at Farpoint, and you can make a best guess that for the original series, the Klingons were the big bad, if you will, to throw out a Buffy reference. And then after years and years of seeing them, now we actually have one that's part of the crew. And so they needed a new big bad, and they were like, here's an idea, we got the Ferengi. And then they made this episode, and everybody was like, are you fucking serious right now? What is that? And after that, they kind of retreated back a little bit, and then they became the ongoing joke of the series. But, I mean, personally, I love the Ferengi, but I love to laugh at them. I never thought of them as scary or intimidating. So this episode is actually pretty interesting because on the surface, there's 3 of the Ferengi, and one of them is played by Armin Shimerman, he's kind of a no-name character in this one, but later on he goes on to play Quark from Deep Space Nine. So it's kind of interesting that he's part of the beginning of the species, and then he's probably the most beloved of the species. So that's kind of interesting. So as I've said, for the first 3 episodes, Gene Roddenberry didn't really stretch during these first couple of seasons. They were just kind of remakes. For me, this had a lot of flavor of the episode Arena, which is where Captain Kirk and the Gorn battle against each other. In this one, it's you have 3 of the Enterprise D and then 3 Ferengi, and they're battling against each other because another alien species has pitted them against each other, just like Kirk and the Gorn. So, I mean, this episode, like I said, it doesn't really stretch very far, but it's interesting. As compared to the first 3 episodes, this is the most interesting episode, in my opinion, so far. It's just kind of noteworthy stuff. This is one of the very few times anybody calls Picard Jean, because his name's Jean-Luc. And after this, maybe one more time, people always call him Jean-Luc, but Crusher just calls him Jean when they wake up. And so, like I said, this has a lot of flavor of the Arena episode, except for the very end, at one point, it's so fucking random, I don't even get it. Data is playing with some finger cuffs, and he gets stuck, and then Picard has to, take them off. At the very end of this episode, I forgot who it was now, it was Geordi or Riker, but this episode, I'm just trying to block it out, says that they beamed several of them aboard the Ferengi vessel, which felt like the Tribble episode to me, where Scotty beams all of the Tribbles to the Klingon vessel, which, like I just said, the Ferengi were originally intended to be the next generation's version of the Klingons. And so we beamed the Tribbles over, now we're beaming finger cuffs over. So, I mean, I don't know. This episode, it's interesting. It is actually pretty interesting, but it's not great. It's still pretty rough. Some of the acting is pretty cringeworthy. But I feel like we're finally starting to take those steps towards improvement. I've said it once, this is the 4th video for the Next Generation, so I've said it 4 times now. The first 2 seasons are pretty rough, but we'll get there. We'll get to the good stuff. And I think this is that first step. For me, Armin Shimerman's a great actor. The Beauty and the Beast live action show, if you guys have ever seen that with Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman, he plays one of the main characters in that, and that was right around this same time. So he's a great actor. He's a great character actor, and I can't wait till we get to Deep Space Nine. But that's the best part about this episode, is to kind of see him and be like, yep, there he is. That's the start of greatness right there. For you guys, what do you guys think about the Ferengi in general? Do you like them? I realize there's a lot of stereotypes in them, and so a lot of people don't like them. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think they're funny? Do you think they're interesting? Do you hate them? Go ahead and let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys tomorrow, or later at least, for episode 5, Where No One Has Gone Before.